What's up, ladies and gentlemen? It's your boy Moo and Uncle Attikis back with another episode of the NYG Blue Zone.
What's up, everybody? How y'all doing out there today? We got a lot to talk about. Moo, you looking good. I need to start off there.
Appreciate you.
Before we even get this thing jumped off, I just want to say we have reached 250 subscribers on YouTube. We're at 270 or something like that on TikTok. Do us a favor. We see that we get a lot more views than we have subscribers. So if you get a chance, it really helps us out with the algorithm to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. So whenever we drop some new content, you'll get it. You'll be the first one to get it. And we appreciate y'all who do tune in to see us.
We truly do.
But
so
I just had a game this weekend.
Yeah, I just wanted to start this episode off by saying, hi, my name is Mummar, and I'm a Giants fan. All right. I feel like I have to take classes for this shit that they put us through. I feel like at a certain point, I'm sold. We won this game at a certain point. And it wasn't at the point most people may think it was. It wasn't when Jackson Dart went for the quarterback sneak. I thought we won the game before the first touchdown was scored by Denver. When they scored, I felt in my gut, are they going to do some New York Giants shit? And I was battling myself like, this is a different team. Jackson Dart, he make things happen. Scatterboo make things. This is a different team. Don't think like that. Our defense been making it happen all day. And then they scored again. And then they got another 2-point conversion. And then I was just on the couch quiet. Because I seen this movie before. And I never liked the ending. The ending to this movie always upset me. But when they got the 2-point conversion, quiet. When Jackson Dart, I was quiet. When Jackson Dart did his quarterback sneak and got the lead, my phone blowing up, let's go. I'll show you several people I text that I said the clock ain't at 000 yet. Cause I know I've been here. You know, I'm a New York Giants user. This is what happens. We saw this movie before, and when I seen them in that prevent defense, the same defense they used against Dow ass, I said, we're going to lose this game. And we did. And it is Tuesday, I still haven't recovered from how stuck I felt that we did some vintage New York Giants shit with such a good team. How'd that game make you feel?
Yeah, hey, listen, I need a 12-step fellowship to recover from this one also, but the PTSD that I'm suffering from right now is running real deep. It's got tentacles. You know, it affected first of all, let me just say, I sat in my chair, like I've created memes to show people sitting in the chair, still staring at a TV with a blank screen, like, what just happened? I sat there literally for about 5 seconds, just stunned. But like you, I felt it coming. There was a part of me that said that there's no way this is going to happen again. This will not be a repeat of what happened with Dallas in week 2. This will not be a repeat of what happened in the first round of the playoffs with Deshaun Jackson and the miracles of the Meadowlands. I said to myself, foolishly, I might add, it would not happen again. But there was a part of me. There was that part of me because I've been trained to believe we are going to fail, that we was going to lose that game. Even though that part of me exists, I was still in shock and disbelief. I could not believe it.
You don't want to see it happen. It was rough. My phone blew up. More people contacted me when we blew that lead than people contacted me on my birthday. And it's a little bit crazy because I give people a 24-hour grace period before I go at them. But my phone blew up after that game. And rightfully, I feel like that was such a disaster. I can't believe, like, when you look at the history that was made during that game, I believe the record was 1,618-1 when leading by 18 in the fourth quarter.
It was in 0. We are now the 1.
Yeah.
It was in 0. So let's talk about it, though, because let's talk, there's no moral victories, but I do want to point out that nobody even gave the Giants a chance to go into Denver and to play as well as they did. And there were so many nuggets that we can point to. I mean, to start the game, it was what you would expect, right? There was a punt followed by, I think it was, let's see, the first drive of the game, 8 plays, 24 yards. The Giants were forced to punt the ball. And then the Giants defense stood up and they held the Denver Broncos. In fact, let me not even go through the whole first couple of plays. The Giants defense was up for the challenge in Denver. They shut them down for better than 3 quarters in that game. Whatever game plan Shane Bowen had going into the game was very effective. They got pressure. They even had a goal line stance where they had the Denver Broncos turn the ball over on downs. They looked that good for the first 3 quarters. Offensively, Jackson Dart played very well. He had a couple of passes that were a little errant and could have probably resulted in interceptions, but they did not. But overall, he played really well. He was converting 3rd and 5, 3rd and 14, 3rd and 12, 3rd and 8. He was converting.
19.
Well, that was in desperation. But yeah, we can't miss that one either. 4th and 19. He was creating plays that normally we as Giants fans would be like, okay, the game's over because it's 3rd and 9. It's 2nd and 9. We're not going to get this. But they were able to do it between him and Scatterboo breaking tackles, Wan'Dale Robinson. And let me tell you, I need to say, the Giants went into this game short-staffed at the receiver position. Even so, the weaponry the Giants have at the tight end position is one to be envied in this league. Daniel Bellinger and Theo Johnson are very good tight ends. They're tall, big-body targets, and the Giants' game plan was to get them heavily involved in this game, and they did a very good job of doing that. If you look at the stats, Dart threw to Wan'Dale Robinson had 6 receptions. Belly had 3. Theo Johnson had 3. Wan'Dale had 95 receiving yards. Big yards, too. Big yards. He converted on a couple of first downs that we desperately needed. Belly, with that big, deep 44-yard bomb, got wide open behind the coverage, the Denver coverage, wide open, alone in the secondary, caught a touchdown. Theo Johnson, the heady play to catch that tip pass off of Wan'Dale Robinson's hands and run it down the sideline for a touchdown. Scatterboo on a quarterback screen. We don't see screens work in New York anymore. The screen play worked. These receptions were 6 by a wide receiver, only 1, 3 by one tight end, 3 by another tight end, and 3 from a running back. Very effective. What did you think about Jackson Dart's play?
I thought it was a fantastic game, man. The guy made stuff happen. The one throw he made, it looked like it was a little bit of cross body.
To Wan'Dale Robinson. He threw it right over the top
Yeah.
of the safety, and Wan'Dale Robinson went up and he caught that pass. And that was a 3rd and 14, I think, something like that.
Yeah, I'm excited about him. When he threw that first touchdown pass, I was in it. I yelled out loud for the first time watching the Giants game, and I didn't even yell like this against Philly because none of it seems real. You know, the PTSD. But he threw that touchdown, and I'm like, yo, this team is for real. this is not. I didn't have a crazy dream. Like we really, this team is for real. Um, some of the things he's done, and you said it. You said what was on my mind, which is we don't got our starting wide receiver. We got so many people missing, important people. Darius Slayton has not had a great season so far, but he is a very key piece to this offense. Malik Neighbors is the offense, or should I say was, because this is the Jackson Dart show. It will be the Jackson Dart and Malik Neighbors show, but right now it's the Dart Scatterboo show. But man, do it feel good to know. I know we got our guy at quarterback, and
Absolutely.
it's crazy that prior to the draft, we didn't even speak about this guy. I didn't even think about this guy. He was
At
not on
all.
my mind at all. And I already love him. I already feel like he gives us a shot to beat any team. Do our coaching staff give us a shot? Probably not. Jackson Dart gives us a shot to beat any team. And I really feel like great defense, bad defense, that's our guy.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to talk about the coach staff a little bit too, but I do want to touch on a couple of things. And like I believe that, and like you said, we didn't talk much about Jackson Dart, if at all, during the postseason. We did a lot of draft coverage on different players because we knew we were looking for a quarterback. And while his name might have come up, we didn't spend any time on him. We didn't see it. I see it now. I'm a believer now. Even when we drafted him at the draft, I said, okay, let me go look at some film and see what he's all about because I didn't watch a lot of Ole Miss football, a lot of SEC. But after watching him, and I want to say this also, the Giants are 2-5. This loss, it hurt. It hurt. It's a game they should have won. Just like the Dallas game, they should have won. And I will still say they should have won the Saints game because that was all self-inflicted injuries, just like this game. But the play by Dart and Scatterboo, it really overshadowed some other good things that we saw. Ryan Burns got 2 more sacks this game. Tyrone Tracy Jr. is back, ran for 31. The offensive line created a hole where he was not even touched and ran for 31 yards. We have some players. Kayvon Thibodeau is quietly having the best season of his career. Dexter Lawrence has really not been playing up to the standard I want to see him play at. But Abdul Carter is very impactful on that line. I would dare say he is a large part of the reason why our edge rushers are performing as well as they are. So there's a lot of good things that's happening as a direct result of the play of these rookies. And Mo, I would dare say that the defensive level of intensity has increased as well as a result of what's happening on the offensive side of the ball. Now, I want to ask you a question, and I want you to answer it not through the lens of a New York Giants player, because I think you've already kind of disclosed how you feel about Jackson Dart. But do you think Jackson Dart is a superstar and a future quarterback? Like, we don't need to look. No, this is it. He's the guy. Do you think that?
My mind's made up. How are we gonna build this team around him? What does he want? What does he need to make a push? Um, that's our guy. We got our guy. He has shown over and over that it's not a fluke. Uh, and you know you found your guy when they make an errant throw, and you can't even get mad at him. I remember when I was younger, and I watched Victor Cruz destroy the Seahawks all game, and then he did a play where he was doing a little bit too much, and it resulted in an interception. I couldn't
Yeah,
get mad at Cruz because he wilded out all game. When
he
Jackson
did.
Dart threw that interception, as annoying as it was, I'm not blaming this L on him. I wish it didn't happen, of course, but I feel like he was also the reason we was in this game. Well, less of a quarterback. Some of the throws he's made look like some Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen type shit. We got that kind of dog back there, and
We do.
and that's who I want. I don't want another quarterback. I remember, I got a lot of friends who are in the Arch Manning sweepstakes, And I let them know Jackson Dart's going to be our guy. And I rolled with him due to the fact that he had that NY on his helmet. Now, I happily roll. I don't want Arch Manning. I don't want another quarterback. I want Jackson Dart. How you feel about it?
I feel the same way. I think it took a minute for me to buy in, but it happened pretty quickly. First of all, to start against a team that was slated to be a contender for the AFC Championship game and possibly the Super Bowl with the Los Angeles Chargers and to play as well as he did, I was like, okay. Even though he didn't play as well as he needed to against the Saints, like I said, I still think we just gave that game away. And then again, to beat the Eagles, not just beat them, like it was belt to ass. It was, in fact, I'm gonna go out on a limb and say right now, I think the Giants are they're gonna throat stomp the Eagles this Sunday in Philly while they're wearing their Kelly Green and welcome Brandon Graham back to the NFL. I'm gonna say that today. I have so much confidence about a 2-5 team that I can't even it doesn't align properly, right? Like logically, why should you feel as confidently as you feel about a 2-5 team who's missing their two top receivers? Why should you feel? But I do. And that's because of the energy that Jackson Dart, Cam Scatterboo, and Abdul Carter has brought to this team. In spite of some poor coaching decisions that have been made by our defensive coordinator, who I think, and this was talked about in a different podcast, but I think we have like I'm sorry, Shane Bowen has a CL55 AMG in the driveway, and he driving it 30 miles an hour in a 55 with our defense. He does not know what he's doing in eco mode. But I want to play something for you.
Let's see
Akil Talib, he is a former corner with the Denver Broncos. He's since been retired, and he's one of the panelists who's always a member of this podcast, The Gridiron. So Gilbert Arenas, I believe it's Gilbert Arenas's podcast, and he had a lot to say about Jackson Dart. So I want to play this, and I want you to comment on what he had to say.
My response to that. Jeez. Okay.
Let me say one thing before you get into it. Each one of those panelists, except for the guy sitting next to him, was saying you're crazy from the very beginning of this. I clipped it up to just post the most egregious remarks Akil Talib said. The brother sitting next to him was like, yeah, he probably ain't a superstar today, but he's going to get this. So if you're saying that, so he was kind of riding with him until he said he is not the future. And then each of them had their say to him about how crazy he sounded. So I needed to just let you know that.
Okay. So Talib is, I remember when he played, always sending some shit. He's a shit talker. And
yeah, he snatched off Crabtree's chain in the middle of a game.
I remember that. He's a Broncos dude. I don't expect nothing less of him. I feel like if he thinks that Jackson Dart's not the answer, if he don't think Jackson Dart's a star, that's fine. I can say this. Since Eli Manning, and I'm not even talking about like late Eli Manning, like when Eli was Eli, I haven't felt this good about a team. I was hoping that this season I felt like our defense would win a lot of games for us. Now I feel like our offense will win more games for us than our defense will. I expect him to say some shit like that. He sound like the donkey of the day. But none of his comments surprised me because he a former Bronco. And his team, when I tell you the most fairy dust, Disney magic sprinkled over that field to on Sunday to get that win to happen. And I give the Broncos credit for staying in a fight. And they stayed in a fight.
They did.
But everything that could possibly go wrong, their first touchdown was a fluke. Now, we had a fluky touchdown too. Their first touchdown, their first time in the end zone, pixie dust sprinkled on the field. Right place, right time, didn't go out of bounds. 2-point conversions, I give him that as well. The perfect storm, that all the way up into the Jackson Dart interception. If that didn't happen, it was so many things that had a
Well, let's
tiny
back it
chance
up.
of happening.
If we had a capable kicker, we wouldn't even be
Everything.
having this discussion.
Yeah, it was. It was the. I really call that game the perfect storm. From the kicker, who thank goodness was released today. Thank goodness that guy's released. But from the
Similar to
kicker,
the Patriots Atlanta Falcons Super Bowl, everything that needed to happen perfectly happened for Tom Brady in that Super Bowl.
it was like a 1 in a million chance that what happened
Right.
on Sunday would happen, but it happened perfectly, and and they came up with a win, and it sucks for us because you get tired of making excuses for a team, you get tired of it,
Mm-hmm.
but I feel like now we're making excuses for the coaching, or we're not making excuses for them. But regardless of the case, I love the team. I love them on offense. I love them on defense. Feel like we could beat anybody. I'm just having a hard time with the coaching at this time. But as far as his comments, Unc, Delulu. That's what we say now. Delusional. That's what
Absolutely.
he is.
Yeah, and it just makes me think, because Akil Talib, he's a big Denver guy, like you said. He's also a Giants hater. He doesn't speak objectively when he talks about Denver or the Giants, but he's entitled to feel the way he feels. I mean, he's seeing everything through Orange Crush lenses. So do your thing. But what I think it does is it reveals a level of hypocrisy within him too, because if you think about it, when Peyton Manning started in this league, his first year he threw, I believe it was like 23 picks. Like, he was
Led the
not a
league.
very good quarterback. And he praises Peyton Manning today. So for him to say that Peyton Manning, by his own standard, would not make it, I mean, for him to say that Jackson Dart would not make it in this league, that you don't build a team around this guy, that he is not the guy, that the Giants need to keep shopping for a quarterback. If you use his standard for evaluating a good quarterback, Peyton Manning would have been cut year one from Indianapolis. And who's to say he would have got another flyer with another team? But we briefly brought up the kicking game, and I do want to bring up the coaching. McAtee was cut today. He was released by the Giants. They're going to go
Thank you.
with Young Koo Hoo,
Young Quay Koo. Young
Young
Quay
Quay
Koo.
Koo, if Graham Gano is not available. So, but it really goes to show and point to some of the mismanagement of the team. This one is rests purely on the shoulders of Dable and Shane. How you not have a competent kicker going into the year? We talked about this briefly. For I think it was the Dallas game, or it might have been the Saints game. No, it was the Saints game because we didn't even have a kicker. How do you go into the league knowing you got a 38-year-old kicker who's injury prone, who has let you down in the past? And we have also shown that our coaching staff can't manage to clock effectively in certain situations. That's an indictment on Shane and Dable. I think that while I'm not a big fan of Young Hoo Koo, but I believe that he is a better option than McAtee, and he's certainly a better option than Graham Gano because he don't have functioning hamstrings. So I'm glad they resolved that for now. Now, as far as the changes in coaching, I think we both agree Shane Bowen is not the guy. He almost had me fooled on Sunday. Almost, but he is not the guy. In fact, I don't know if you listen to sports talk radio out of New York, but I do every day, and they screaming for his head. They don't want to. They wanted his key card to be deactivated before the plane landed back in New York. That's how bad it's been, and I agree with that. That being said, who would you like to see, if anyone, to be the Giants' defensive coordinator when they move on from this guy?
Spags.
Well, we ain't getting Spags.
um, Nah, I don't have anybody in particular in mind, but I do know that was just I was crushed. I was like the whole night was a long night. It was man, I woke up and I'm like, that ain't happy. I woke up feeling like it was Sunday and I was about to watch football all day. Um I never seen a team let off the gas like that.
Yeah.
I don't
And why
have a
they went
I don't have a defensive coordinator in mind, but I can tell you, I never like that was compared. A couple of people text me comparing that to the Deshaun Jackson game, and I don't quite compare it to that, but it's pretty damn close. I feel like we always have that game that looks like this, and this season I thought the Dallas game was going to be that game. This was more that game than the Dallas game was.
it was. I'll be honest with you. I mean, I just looked at a couple of names that I would love to see for the Giants defensive coordinator. If and I think the Giants should spend money to get the guy who's going to lead this defense. We have such an incredible group of players on defense that it will be a fucking travesty to waste this level of talent while we have it. And you need somebody who's capable of leading these men to be the best version of a Giants defense they can be. Couple of people who come to mind: Patrick Graham, Antonio Pierce,
Mm.
and Jim Schwartz. If we can pull Jim Schwartz out of the Cleveland Browns, who I think he is in a bad situation over there, I would be extremely pleased with that scenario. There are a couple of other guys out there, but they're under contract, so I'm not even going to bring their names up. But the three guys that quickly comes to mind: Antonio Pierce isn't even coaching right now, if I'm not mistaken. He was the coach of the
He
Raiders
did
and did
great.
so well. Yeah, he became the interim head coach when they let go of their head coach a couple of years ago, and then signed him for another year. He's not a good head coach, but he's a good DC. Patrick Graham was with the Giants before. He was with the Giants under, I believe it was under Joe Judge, and it was such a mess of a situation in New York that he decided he did not want to return. But if you look at the roster in New York, it's a pretty attractive landing spot for coaching candidates now. Now, some of these guys might be like, I don't want to come there if Brian Dable is there. Do you think Brian Dable should be retained at the conclusion of this season or not?
I don't think he should. I got no reason to think he should. I feel like a wise man once told me, when somebody show you who they are, believe them. And I feel like I believe that Brian Dable's not the guy. I believe that first season he did incredible, and after that I've seen a lack of discipline. I've seen the team not finish the game. I seen I seen the level of immaturity that our players could display because they was able to. They did it, and I feel like that all falls on him. A lot of people are annoyed about, and even I listened to the solo episode you did about just running the ball, using the timeouts. I even respect the aggressive approach. That's not why I'm annoyed with Brian Dable. I respect trying to get that first down and waste get more time off the clock. It didn't work, but if it worked, he looked like a hero. It just didn't work. Um, but I feel like it's the attitude of our players. I don't feel like I feel like Detroit players, they want to play for Dan Campbell. They want to play for him. They want to go out there and prove him right. The Giants players, we're playing because we hate to lose. We're not playing for Brian Dable. The dogs we
Mm-hmm.
got, they just don't want to lose games. They don't
That's
want to
right.
make Brian Dable proud. They just don't want to lose games. And
Yeah.
I feel like we gotta shift we shift the culture on the field. And I appreciate what Brian Dable did. I love the playoff victory we got against the Vikings. I love the playoff season. You're not the guy, and we had enough time to see that he's not the guy.
Right. Right. Yeah, I agree. And like you talked about that one play where Jackson Dart threw the interception, and he did so many good things, and I am not mad at him for throwing an interception. I am not. I'm mad about the play that was called and when it happened. And the reason I'm mad at it, because be aggressive. I like that, right? I too am okay with run it, throw it, because the Broncos are expecting a run. So he figured, let me catch him off guard. Fine. But you have to tell your quarterback, if it is not there, don't even throw it away. Take a sack, drop
Preach.
down, protect the ball. Do not turn the ball over. It resulted in them getting the ball deep in our territory. I mean, it only took them a play or two to score as a result of that turnover. I'm not mad at Jackson Dart. I'm not mad at the aggressive play call. I'm mad that you didn't make sure he knew beyond a shadow of a doubt, if that play breaks down and it is not there, you do not turn the ball over. That's a coaching failure of the worst kind, right? So here's the other thing. So you said Dable should not return. I was on the fence with this because you got Jackson Dart, and a large part of the reason why he is playing so incredibly well is because of the relationship that he himself has with the head coach. But this is a head coach of a whole bunch of other players. There's 53 men on that team and a number of different coaches, and I think a lot of people has lost respect for Brian Dable. So now that we are here, and we need to do something that's for the good of the organization, we need to, in my opinion, at this point, look forward. Hey, listen, Brian Dable, you good for this year. We didn't really expect to do much this year. Anyway, you've made, well, not you, Jackson Dart, Cam Scatterboo, Abdul Carter has made New York Giants football exciting, and even when we lose. However, you are not the coach of the future. Would you like to see maybe a John Gruden come out of retirement and coach the Giants? You know, Jackson Dart has extensive familiarity with him because he went through the Gruden grinder camp or whatever it's called. What do you think about Gruden pairing with a Patrick Graham, Antonio Pierce, or Jim Schwartz?
I love the whole combo. I think that's a great combo. But I want to sidestep that for a minute and tell you that was what you just said. I think you nailed how so many Giants fans across the world feel. What you just said, I feel like you was my spirit animal for a minute when you said that. That was, I can't believe that game was real. But how you just threw that out there, how you just laid that out, thank you for that, man. You're the heartbeat to this show, Uncle Atticus. You the heartbeat. You just laid that out there, and I felt like I was in church, man.
Fortunately, I have had insomnia and spent way too much time thinking about this. It's
I feel like
crazy,
I was in
man.
church. I can't believe that game happened.
Let me tell you something, and just to piggyback off of that whole spiel I just dropped, that was the difference. That was the play that changed the trajectory of this game. It wasn't when they went into the fourth quarter and they scored 8 points and the score was now 26-8. That wasn't it. It was at the point where the interception was thrown. Don't take my word for it, though. I'm going to let you hear it from the horse's mouth. Check this out. Even the quarter is telling you their fans had left the building already, Moo. They left the building. In fact, at one point, you could hear Giants fans saying, "Let's go, Giants." You could hear them. But that turnover, that interception, Anyway, I do like the idea of moving on from Brian Daboll's. I think it's premature to do it now, and I don't think that's the Giants' way. But I'm very happy with the players we have. That's a different statement than I'm happy with the trajectory that we're on as a team. I do think that they're going to build chemistry. They're going to get some more gelling that's going to happen with the offensive line. They have played much better. But I also think that we have some issues that is like a big, huge elephant in the room that has continued to plague us, and that's our secondary. Drew Phillips got hosed this week. Tay Banks, I'm tired of talking about Tay Banks. I'm tired of it. Tay Banks needs to get cut. We need to release him, get whatever we could get for him. Get a seventh round, get rid of him. He is a liability for this football team. And as soon as our starting corner, as soon as Holland and Adebo went out with injury, everything fell apart in our secondary. You could throw the ball wherever you wanted, and Mims was going to catch it, or Franklin, or what's his name? Start with an S.
Sutton.
Cortland Sutton was going to catch the ball. Our secondary is a liability. It's so much of a liability that even when a prevent defense is supposed to work, they're incapable of making it work. I was so incredibly frustrated with watching. And then that's another thing. How are you going to go into a prevent with 3 linemen rushing the quarterback, effectively taking away any pressure from Bo Nix, and just giving him an opportunity to scan the entire field? And all you need is a small window when you're a competent quarterback to find somebody to make the catch. And even with all of these guys out there, you got 2 safety robbers, you got 8 people in coverage, 8 of them, and only 3 or 4 receivers, and you can't stop the play. That is unacceptable. Unacceptable. The collapse that we witnessed was something unlike anything. I wish I could say unlike anything I've seen before, but I've seen it before, nephew. I'm disgusted with him. I'm frustrated. Yeah. I'm disgusted. I do think that
Brian Burns voiced some of what you just said. It didn't make any sense.
Yeah, right in the tunnel, exiting the field. He said it, and he said it loud enough for a reporter to hear it. He said, how you throw 8 in coverage? Like, why don't you have your best players on the field in that moment? Why don't you? It was very frustrating. But you know what? I'm still encouraged about the players that we have. I think that, and tonight we're just not going to have time to do a preview of the Eagles game. We'll do that another day. But I'm still pleased with some of the individual performances that we saw from our players. I will say that.
Me too.
I don't want to be just pleased with individual performances, though. I want W's. Yes. I want to win. We should be 4-3 or 5-2 right now, and we are not. And we aren't there because of a lack of talent. And that's the thing that's frustrating. We've got the talent, with the exception of the kicker position and our corners, but we've got the talent. We need them to be coached better. And I'll say one more thing, and then I'll get your perspective on this. I even think if we have a little limited talent in our secondary with our front and a good coordinator, they will take up the slack for those guys and their weaknesses on the back end of our defense. What do you think about that?
I agree 100%. When our defensive line is cooking, it makes our secondary look good. It makes them look good because the quarterback ain't got time to throw the ball, or they throwing the ball too early, or they throwing the ball too late. When our defensive line is not cooking, our second we done. We fried. Our cornerbacks has not done what I hoped they'd do this year. Adebo has underperformed to me personally.
Tay Banks hasn't played. Yeah.
Yeah. I want more. And you said it earlier, I want more from Dexter Lawrence. My mind state is we got dogs on our defense. Abdul Carter, Dexter Lawrence, Brian Burns, and Kayvon Thibodeau. It should be, their sacks should be spread out. It shouldn't be Brian Burns leading the pack at 9, and then the fall off from there is tremendous. It should be, all right, so we got a double Brian Burns, Abdul Carter should get his. We got a double Abdul Carter, Dexter Lawrence, and Brian Bird. Like, Kayvon Thibodeau. I expected everybody on our defensive line to have at least 5 sacks by now. And it's not happening. I see the pressures. And I know that sacks aren't the only thing that kind of matters as far as the stat goes. But I expect more from the defensive line, and I expect a hell of a lot more from the secondary.
Agreed. Yeah. The run defense has improved. I'll give them that. You're right. Like, you see an even spread of effectiveness with the pressures, but we're not seeing that same type of production when it comes to actual sacks. In fact, the team we just played, they have real good balance on how many people are affecting the passer and getting sacks. And we thought we would be real similar to them in terms of numbers. But I will take what we've got. There needs to be, and honestly, I think you would probably agree with me. Like, we want to see an increase in those numbers, but we're not disappointed with the production that they're getting at that position. Mm-hmm. The positions that we probably both are equally frustrated about are our secondary and our special teams unit. Those are the two areas. But, yeah, I think that's all I got for this show. What about you?
I think that's a wrap. That's the show. I really appreciate all of you guys tuning in. Please, please, please like, subscribe, shoot us a comment. We will reply. We promise we will reply either on the website, or we'll reply right here live on the show. But let us know what y'all think. Let us know what y'all want us to talk about. And we appreciate you tuning in to another episode of the NYG Blue Zone.
That's right, y'all. Thank you for joining us. Y'all all have a good night. Like, subscribe, notification bell, like Moose said. We really appreciate the support, and we are glad that you spent some time with us today. Go Big Blue.
Big Blue, baby.
Yeah, a lot of girls probably crying from my old high school. Look, they see me everywhere they go. I probably would too. Look, crossed over to the Jordan men like I'm Michael. Yeah, eating blessings so much I might need lipo. Yeah, tailored for the doves like I'm walking in chucks. Yeah, it's just in this plan, man, I see all y'all shook. Look, knew that I was great ever since I was a rook. Man, all y'all singles making me look good. Okay, praise to the Most High, yeah, that's Jesus. Look, but when it come to this rap thing, I can't lose. Yeah, back-to-back number ones, that's a thing greats do. Yeah, tell them boys that ain't nothing I can't do. It's my year. It's my year.